If there's something strange in your neighborhood, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! Hello and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies with our special guest, Eden Cummins.
Hello!
The podcast where all three of us went and saw a movie at a local regional cinema, and then we're going to talk about it in the parking lot, in the cold, trying to discuss, should you see this movie, should you not see this movie, did we like it, did we not like it, do we love it, do we hate it? These are all, hopefully, will be answered soon, maybe. No promises, I guess. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy, and yes, Eden is with us again as we discuss, as you may have guessed, the latest in the Ghostbusters franchise, a mere 30 years after the last entrance, if we don't count the female version, of course. Which we can.
Which I'll be very clear, I do.
Yeah. But they don't in this movie.
No, not at all.
It is definitely not in the same universe.
Correct. So anyway, yes, we saw Ghostbusters Afterlife, and there are many famous people in it. The sexiest man alive is in it. Paul Rudd.
Yep. Questionable call in my opinion, but okay.
Yeah, well, he has the title. I mean, we'll
Nothing
just
I
go
can
by
do-
that.
Nothing I can do about that.
Schoolboy
not-
roll up.
It's not Todd's sexiest man alive. Who's
Well,
that, Todd? Who's that?
I don't know. I haven't had time to think about it. Just not Paul Rudd.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, yeah. So Paul Rudd's in it. What's his name? Wolfhard.
Finn
Victor,
Wolfhard.
Finn Wolfhard.
Finn
There he goes.
Wolfhard.
He's totally famous from Stranger Things.
And The Turning, Matt, our favorite movie we saw in theaters.
I choose to forget that we even saw that. But yeah, he was in that too. Right. So other famous people in it, in no particular order, are Dan Aykroyd. Bill Murray is in it. I don't know if Winston's famous.
Ernie Hudson?
Is he famous?
Of Grace and Frankie fame? Absolutely.
I would say he's been in enough to be recognizable. I don't know about super famous, though.
All right. Fair enough.
Somewhere in there.
Harold Ramis's ghost. Sigourney Weaver is in it. Who else? Who am I missing?
Ann Potts, but I don't know what else she did.
Okay.
She did 2 Ghostbusters movies.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't think. Well, we've mentioned her.
Was she in the woman cast version? Like as not as
Oh,
her,
I actually
as her
don't remember.
character,
I
but-
think so, yeah. I think so.
Fair enough. Well, you get the gist. I think that's all. That's enough. That's enough famous people to overshadow this movie. So what's it all about? Well, it takes place in the same universe as Ghostbusters 1, at least. Maybe no references to Ghostbusters 2, but certainly 1.
It still exists in my heart.
Okay, fair enough. After our brief discussion before this, I may never have seen Ghostbusters 2. It's possible. It's possible. If the Marshmallow Man's not in 2, then I don't think I've seen it. So this movie takes place many years later in a town in Oklahoma called Somerville, and the main characters of the movie are Egon Spengler's daughter as a mom, and her 2 kids being his grandchildren, Phoebe and some other name.
Trevor,
Thank you. And so they moved to this town because they're broke, and their grandfather just died and left them this decrepit farm. And so the family kind of goes there because they don't have anywhere else to go, and they're kind of trying to sift through all the belongings. And they discover a number of things along the way. They discover some ghost traps and some proton backpack things and the original Ecto-1 car And all of those things are figured out and used. Oh, and a ghost spirit detector thing too.
PKE meter.
Yeah, thank you
You're welcome.
for the official designation there. And so rolling along and along and along, we meet Paul Rudd's character, who's a local teacher who's teaching summer school, which for some reason, the brilliant granddaughter of Egon Spengler is some reason has to go to summer school in a town where they just moved there. Well, we won't focus too much on that.
Yeah. Gotta gloss over that.
Yeah. So she meets her teacher, whose name is Goomba something, and Greg is his first name.
Was it
Greg.
Gary?
Gary is his
Gary, some weird last name.
Brandenburg or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
It's
two
not
O's in it.
Gutenberg.
There's two O's
The
in it.
Goot is not in this movie.
Right. So anyway, he decides to have a romantic feeling for the mom character, and I think that's, everything
Continue.
okay?
Yes.
Okay. Todd has just turned a light on, which throws everything off.
Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, back to darkness. Yeah, so the kids kind of are finding these ghost things and bringing them back to life, and in the meantime, this town appears to be in the center of some sort of vortex of paranormal activity, centered around this mine that is what the town was founded for in 1945. So ghost things start happening. They start using the equipment to kind of trap ghosts and see ghosts and zap ghosts and things like that. And then we start to hear references to the Keymaster and the Gatekeeper and Zool and Gozer, and you find out that all of this is an elaborate plot by this old dead guy who wants to bring Gozer back to the world of the living. So that happens, and then there's a big battle to try and trap Gozer, and I won't reveal any more than that. How about that?
Fair.
Did I miss any salient plot points there?
Not.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. I say we're good.
Yeah, we're good. All right. Todd, your thoughts. Ghostbusters, Afterlife.
So I'll start by saying that I really like this movie. Let's just put that out there first.
It's out there now.
It's
Here's
out there.
10 minutes of trashing it. Go.
No, I just want to put that out there first because, and one of the reasons that I really like it is that I would say the quote unquote main character of this movie is the granddaughter of Spengler, Egon, and to me, I thought she stole the show with this movie. Of playing that kind of awkward, nerdy, process feelings differently kind of person. And for some reason there's a whole plot thing in this movie that involves her telling jokes. And for some reason, every time I started to be like, okay, what's happening in this movie? Are we getting some, where are we going? She would tell a joke and I'd be right back into the movie. I was enthralled by her performance, and I don't know if it's quite justified, but as far as this movie that has Finn Wolfhard, who's the probably one of the youngest hotness going on right now of movies and shows and stuff like that, and all the other characters in this movie, I thought she knocked it out of the park. So
Agree.
I just wanted to highlight that first. So I think this movie, as far as touching back on a movie that we haven't been to in 30 years, or a universe, really 30 to 35 years, depending if they do include 2 or not. I thought the start of this movie was genius when you're revisiting these movies in this universe. And it came out of complete left field to me because the start of the movie follows Harold Ramis, they use CG and doubles and all that kind of stuff, but I just really dug the story of this movie. Like, I think they did such a good job of revisiting this universe with a good, solid story. Besides the main woman, whoever I talked about, the acting is fine. Like, I don't think of the other main characters anyone really knocks it out of the park. I mean, Paul Rudd is just Paul Rudd in this movie. As far as cool hip teacher who could be on drugs, honestly, with how he acts most of the time. Just scientist but head in the clouds, making jokes and stuff like that. But this is not a spoiler for anyone who knows anything about the movie, is that a lot of the old cast shows up, and when they show up, I thought it was just pure movie magic when they showed up. The writing was perfect when they were there, the scenes were done perfect. I mean, it really felt like they hadn't missed a beat, and it just felt like the old movie, and it just was so magical to me because unlike Eden, I've never seen a Ghostbusters movie in theaters. And so I just, I think there's things to kind of note that are, not as good as the others. I thought sometimes the story dragged just a little bit. I don't care about Finn Wolfhard, and I honestly didn't care about his whole character. You could have erased the character from the movie, and I don't think I would have cared or really noticed, honestly. But man, the build up and the crescendo of this movie is just really magical to me. Just a nice movie magic experience. And I think if you're a fan of Ghostbusters, and you definitely need to see this movie in theaters. And even if you're not, and you just kind of loosely enjoy the movies, it's just nice. It's just good. When it all kind of comes together. I mean, there's some twisty turns, and there's just a solid story. I'm gonna start tripping over myself here and repeating myself if I haven't started already. So I say go see this movie in theaters. It's good. It's gonna get a positive rating from me, and I'm all about it.
All right, strap in, get a drink, use the bathroom. This is going to be a minute.
As the Ghostbusters expert,
I love Ghostbusters. At 5 years old, saw Ghostbusters 2 in theaters. I've seen every Ghostbusters movie over my lifetime as it's come out in theaters. I believe the first one came out slightly before I was born. It is a thing that I will just always see it if it comes out. And I spent a lot of watching this movie wondering who the audience was, because it wasn't so tripping on itself with nostalgia and giving adults who love the franchise things that they want to get excited about. It was a really slow burn on a lot of plot lines and things, and I liked the way that the in-universe handled the idea of, ghosts were around and people just kind of moved on because it was a weird thing that happened 30 years ago and no one remembered, no one cares. And we see that with major events, as decades pass, they're not as prescient in the popular zeitgeist. I think that was really handled well. I've been thinking a lot about how there aren't any real kid adventure movies anymore. There's no Goonies, there's no E.T. There's none of these things that we grew up with, this entire genre of movies that are taken 100% seriously, that just feature children protagonists. And that's just the focus. But they're not made with the idea of just cashing in on a family youth market. And I'm not saying like we will, we could be heroes, isn't that? But it has absolutely like a schlock factor behind it. And that's partially just Robert Rodriguez, it's partially whatever. But I mean, like, this felt like those movies from the 80s. It was a slow burn. There wasn't really a lot of really poppy action scenes. Like, there was just plot and story and character, and they drove it. And there's a couple places where I was like, all right, this is going slow, but I thought that it was just nice to be in a movie and just watch something crafted with love manifest. And it was clearly that. I think that there was a lot that I loved about it. I thought that all the children actors, which are kind of like the make or break of any of these kinds of things, did a great job. Like, I thought that everyone was great. I thought that the love interest for Big Hair McWolfwood was like a little. That was honestly one of the diciest things to me, because it looked like someone saw Zendaya in the Spider-Man franchise and was like, do that. And so that was a little like, okay. And there were a couple like weird things. It wasn't a comedy per se. It wasn't really an action movie per se. Like, it couldn't decide a little bit the direction it was going in, but I thought that it didn't super need to either. It was just a very good movie, and the audience is for people who want to share things with the next generation. Like, they want to take something that matters to them and pass it on. It's not revisiting the original and having it be dated. It's not, like, taking something that is meaningful and, like, putting it out and, like, having your kids who are used to CGI everything go, those dogs look fake. Like, it tracks, it bridges. I think it can transcend. It's really special. And I super loved it. And to the point that you made, like, when they hit that end, it just felt like those characters, like, lived in their lives and came together. Like, it was so good and so rewarding. I liked the all-female cast remake a couple of years ago, but it wasn't this at all. That was just a cash in on the name for comedy. I thought that it did what it set out to do fine. This was very clearly crafted with love for legacy. It was such a love letter to Harold Ramis. It was such a love letter to the 80s in not a Stranger Things way, but in like the way we used to tell stories and the way that we grew up with film. And I really appreciated it for itself and all the meta reasons behind it. So,
well, and I think something that I don't know if everyone knows this, but I think it's like a cool thing about the movie too, is that, the original director's son directed this movie, like, which is, keeping in what you're saying as far as like feeling the original in this and all that kind of stuff, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it had to be good, because, like, we've heard for 20 plus years that Bill Murray wouldn't effing do it. Like, we've heard that there was just no way he would reprise it. There was no way that he was going to. They backed the money truck up to get him to show up in the Kristen Wiig one. Yeah. And, like, this one was pretty clear that it was pretty clear to me that all of the principals who showed up from the originals did so because they saw it. Like, they got the treatment, or they got, like, they talked to Reitman, or they talked to, whatever it was. Like, it was pretty clear to me, at least, as someone just, like, watching the product, that they were like, okay, I get it. No, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And I think that's incredible. Like, I think it's incredible what we got. I loved the setup of that, and I loved that it was just about people making bad choices and, like, for the right reasons. Like, they learn and they develop and they grow, and I thought that it was great.
Well, there you have it. So I'm gonna say what I liked best about this movie was the end of it. Not that the movie ended and I was happy that it was over, but the actual kind of climax of the movie where you get all the old guys coming back to help out with this sort of final battle against the boss ghost. You guys said it. It's very well done. Those guys did a great job reprising roles from many years past. Bill Murray is Bill Murray, and he did that thing, and it worked great. Also, what I liked is the Todd, you said it, the girl who plays Phoebe. I think her name's Mackenzie something. Sorry, Mackenzie, I'll give you $5 for not knowing your name if you contact me about that. That was about it for me enjoying this movie. I thought that the beginning to middle to to the beginning of the end was really tedious and slow and plodded along. And maybe that's 80s filmmaking type stuff, but I didn't like it. And there were several times in that part of the movie where I was just like, when is this going to be over? This is just a torturous, slow build-up of plot. I thought it could have been, maybe half hour shorter and tighten things up a little more for my taste. So, is this a good movie? I struggle with that question. But the ending for me brought it around, and I enjoyed myself enough to say that, if you like Ghostbusters movies, or at least Ghostbusters 1, which is apparently the only one I've seen, both versions of Ghostbusters 1, then check it out. I don't know if you need to see it in the theater. You can stream it from my perspective. So that's where my opinion ends up.
The big thing in Ghostbusters 2 is the Statue of Liberty.
Okay.
That's fair.
Fair
assessment.
Oh wait, does the Statue of Liberty come to life?
Yes.
Okay, maybe I have seen it.
And there's a lot of ooze.
There's a lot of ooze. They play music to make it go.
Yeah. Your love taking me higher.
That's what we should have done for the intro.
Well, maybe for the sequel.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, there's only one thing that keeps popping in my mind about this movie as far as our rating system. How many ghost traps would you give this movie? Ghost traps obviously play an important part in the Ghostbusters franchise because that's how you trap ghosts, and you need the ghosts to be trapped or else they're all running amok. So 5 obviously is the best because then you got 5 ghost traps, you can catch 5 ghosts. You got 0 ghost traps, well, you're just screwed and the ghosts are running amok. So although it does seem, besides major ghost villains, the kind of maybe minions ghosts don't seem like they're there to do much harm. They're just kind of a nuisance.
I think that was a choice to make it not scary for kids. My son asked if he could watch Ghostbusters 1, and I was like, absolutely not. Like, there's no way that I'm letting you see that library ghost.
Yeah.
There's nothing in this one that makes me go, like, all right, you're going to have an upset time. Like, it was, I think, made specifically to be something you could share with your family.
Yeah. Nice. So, Matt, how many ghost traps?
Let's see. I'm going to go with 2.4 ghost traps out of 5. So, the ending really redeemed it, or it would be a much lower score than that. But I felt happy about my time watching this movie at the end of it, when the good stuff happened.
The magic.
Left a good taste in my mouth.
I don't remember what you said about Awake, but I feel like this might be the first one I've sat with where we've hit a below average. I can't imagine Awake did not get a below average from you. But
I don't know.
I can't remember either. Yeah, I guess all the movies that we've seen here and the Rocky movies, I don't think you ever went below 2.5. Although one Rocky movie was exactly 2.5.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
3, I think. Or 5.
Was it Creed 2?
Creed 2 is a 2.5.
Creed 2.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Spoiler alert.
The light came on because Todd needed to check the data capacity because all the Rockies were still on it.
Oh, man.
I'll blow up your spot. I don't care. It's not my show.
So.
All right. Eden.
I'm going to go ahead and just out the gate give you a 4.75 for this one.
High marks. I love it.
That's a Brian Siemens. A Brian Siemens. I had a coupon, so it's a better movie.
No, I think that like
For the 8 people who understand that reference who don't listen to our podcast.
I'll tell you who does listen to our podcast. One, Jonathan Ducharme.
Okay,
is a faithful
all right.
listener.
He'll get that then.
And Alec also.
Sometimes. I don't know about all the time.
I don't like these analytics. They're very detailed. We're getting donuts.
We got a guy in the parking lot who is speeding around doing donuts.
We're getting a guy who saw that scene where they take the Ecto 1 out for the first time and is like, I could do that.
Trying to spin out here. Oh. They are trying to do a little.
Oh gosh.
No, I love
Just
it.
stay over there.
I love it. Nope, they're coming over here. I love it. Confrontation. Confrontation.
I don't like
Yes.
this. Don't stop. Get it. Oh,
All right, they're
gone.
leaving.
Okay.
We stared them down.
Or are they?
Oh, they're back. Oh, gosh.
no.
All right, you're at a 4.75.
I'm at a 4.75. I'm going to say that, like, when I think about these things, I think of two things. Am I going to watch it again? And how much did I enjoy watching it the first time? I don't know how many times I would watch it again. But that's why it's not a 5. But I loved being there for this. Like, I loved that happened. I loved that I got to do it. I love that I'm here talking about it. I love that all happened, and I absolutely would want to see it at least one more time to share it with my kids.
Sure.
And so, like, I really think that it came together and was the love letter that they wanted it to be and expected it to be. I think it had problems, I think that it had pitfalls, and I think that it's entirely possible in a few years. I'm not thinking about it that much. For right now, gut action in this car, 475.
Nice. I like it.
All right. Todd?
It's gonna get some high marks from me. Not quite as high as Eden, but I totally dug the fact that they didn't do CGI everything.
I say visually, it held up. It looked so good.
Yeah, I love that they, some of the dog scenes were the puppet dogs again and stuff like that. I loved that aspect of it. I agree with Matt a little bit that it did suffer in points, and you're kind of like, where are we going here and what's happening? But luckily, that girl was able to drop a joke and make me laugh and bring me back in. Yeah, so I'm at a 4.0. I had a great time. I do really like the original Ghostbusters. Definitely not as much as Eden, but I do like and love those movies. And I think, besides the stuff that we can pick apart, and I love the story, and I just thought the magic that happens at the crescendo of this movie is just so good. Like, I really am having a hard time comparing it to another movie experience. So that's where I'm at, 4.
This is not in its favor, but I'll tell you the only other time that I remember feeling like that is at the end of Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, when Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are all standing next to each other for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, that's the last time I felt that way. Like, it's And before that, like that action shot of the Avengers, like in the
Sure, yeah.
like in the first one, like it felt like that to me, like the return of something genuine and iconic, and seeing a thing that you did not expect to ever see in your lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. So, that's where I'm at.
Okay. Final thoughts before we wrap up?
I really liked it.
Yeah.
That's where I'll end off.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to wrap up this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies with special guest Eden Cummins, where we reviewed Ghostbusters Afterlife, and we gave it an average score of 3.71 and 2/3 ghost traps out of 5, which is a pretty good score. So based on that, hey, you got to see it, right?
Yeah, if you let us dictate your life like that, then yes, you definitely need to see it.
You got to see it with a score like that.
Yeah.
You got to see it.
As we were leaving the theater, I looked Matt in the eye and said, "I cannot wait to bring this reading up." And I'm glad that's how that went down.
Fair enough. Nice.
Well, we all gave our gut reactions, and that's how it turned out. And that's the way we roll here.
That's what we do here.
So, thank you for listening to our podcast. We will keep making it, and you guys keep downloading and clicking, so we get those big numbers that make us happy every Monday. Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Da 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 da.